I got pimple on full blast today because I was doing those stickers, but I feel like it was just exacerbating the problem. Plus, why should I not just let my freak flag fly, you know? And this is truly a feat of freakiness. It's got 2 heads.
I'm trying to match your mic. I don't know why. I don't know. All right.
Mine is kind of angled more against the table like this, and like the stick is straight off of it. Maybe like that. Hey, it's Megan and Whitney, and we're here. We got a roaring fire in the background.
We're keeping warm with some pineapple and a fake fire. How are you today?
Oh my gosh, that tornado of yesterday.
There was a tornado last night. I had a motorcycle date and it got canceled because you don't want to get inhaled.
That sucks. I wanted you to have that date, but I also am glad that. Well, I also had a thing that was canceled due to the tornado.
You had a big production canceled.
Well, we were going to do another public access thing, and we're going to do sandwiches, but postponed. And actually, they're closed for renovations until mid-April. So that was going to be our last one for a while, but now we just, we have time to plan and write.
If you don't know, that's your host, Rubbish Cook. You can find her at Rubbish Cook on Instagram, on YouTube. She is the content creating prince of
I can't help it. I can't help it.
I'm your host, Whitney does.
She does a lot of things.
That's true. I'm starting to do more. You know what I'm saying? You got to do more. You got to get your dog sniffing around what you do. I just heard like a pan cling. There's no pans over there.
There's all kinds of like Foley work going on over here.
Whatever,
like Davis is making all of his own sound effects.
You know,
D, I don't understand why you need to be right there. That's not a place.
If it's hard to get to, he wants it. He needs it. It's his spot. Get out of the way.
I just love it when the camera's rolling. That's when the dogs are like...
Moth to a flame. I see a Band-Aid on my bar card. How the fuck did that get there? Dude, if you have a toddler, you get weird shit in your house.
She loves Band-Aids.
She loves Band-Aids. We went through a box of Band-Aids in 24 hours. That is a Band-Aid an hour, ladies and gentlemen. God damn.
I love when she says Band-Aid. She's like,
Beanie?
Beanie. She's cute. What can we say? I don't know. Should we look at our email?
Should we look at our belly buttons?
Let's just gaze at our navels. Oh, I wanted to speak a little about this dress. I've had it for
47 years?
Maybe. Like, this is a very ancient dress, and when I got it, it was already secondhand, so it's imbued with, like, many memories and activities and farts, not my own and my own. But I felt like wearing it today because, I don't know, I wanted to, like, show up dressed for the job that I want, and I was imagining what this job would be.
What is this job?
So it's like a grandma and grandpa kisser. I like show up to horse races or like, you know, outdoor things, and I kiss your grandparents.
Hold on.
I give them lemonade or Arnold Palmer, whatever they want, and I have a tray of sliders, and I just kiss your grandparents on the cheek or on the nose or I guess on the mouth.
I never wanted a job so bad. That's the job I want.
This is my grandparent kisser outfit.
Wow.
And you know they would want a kiss from me, you know?
A nice little forehead smooch.
Yeah. I just want to make them feel seen and appreciated.
Validated.
Yeah, just like your life has meaning, you know, even though you're retired or, you know, your kids don't come to see you or whatever. Like,
you don't want them to wither away like a potato chip like most of our grandparents
I'll
did.
be there. I will kiss you. Okay?
And it will rehydrate them.
So that's what I'm dressed for.
What's your grandparent kisser suit?
I also felt like I was dressed to go to church. Like I'm dressing to go to church. Because this is sort of a sacred act.
This is church.
It's a ritual now.
It is.
And it's, I don't know, it explores parts of me that I don't usually explore.
I know, right? It is funny. Have people been asking you about the podcast?
people have been saying like, wow, good job and stuff like that.
It's
but
weird to get comments in the wild.
Definitely. But I feel that way about Rubbish Cook too. Because like it was South by just now, and I'm seeing people in person that I haven't seen since Rubbish kind of popped off. And they're calling me Rubbish Cook now. And they're saying, Rubbish Cook, so good stuff.
Rubbish
Cook.
Rubbish Cook.
I feel like I emailed it to some of my cooking class students because we sometimes talk about it during the class. Or no, this happened on office hours. Someone was like, I thought it was Rubbish Cock the whole time.
Rubbish
like,
Cock.
wait.
Rubbish Cock.
You think I would have a Rubbish Cock?
Yeah, hold on a second.
No.
Wait, is that offensive?
This is big dick energy.
This is never mind. This is newly minted.
Huh?
Can you remint your wiener?
Depends on where you got it from in the first place, don't
I'm
it?
gonna just edit that out. I don't know. Clip. We don't talk about genitalia around here. We don't think about it. We don't.
I don't have genitalia. I just dream of having them one day. Like an angel.
Like an angel's cloaca.
I'm an asexual angel.
Speaking of cloacas, of course this would happen. Our most downloaded episode is the Cloaca Kiss and Astronaut diaper, which had the worst audio. I'm so glad that that's the one that everyone's
That's the way things go, kiddo.
to.
That's life, isn't it?
That's okay. We've got almost 200 views on our first episode, which I don't understand. Do people keep coming back to it? What doesn't matter. We're glad you're watching. And then
Could they be starting it and then leaving and coming back and finishing it? That makes sense. It's an hour.
And then we've got like 20 downloads on our podcast in 24 hours.
Who are you?
Tell us who you are. Tell us who you are. Message us on Instagram. Send us
Just curious.
email.
Who's liking
chat
our
with us.
stuff, you know? But that's so cool. I never thought that anybody would care so much about what I have to say.
We're spreading our seed.
I wish that seed bag was within reach, like literally and figuratively.
I just bought a bag of wildflower seed, which apparently is incredibly hard to find. We get in the car. It was expensive. Found some. It was expensive. Get in the car. Lucas turns around and goes, Whitney wants to spread her seed. I do, I guess.
Yeah, don't we all?
I need more bees in my yard.
That's right. She's supporting the bee colony.
Bees in the yard. Bees
We
in
forgot
the
to
yard.
set a timer.
That's okay.
You think we'll be okay?
Yeah, the GoPro's a timer. I can't read it from here. I need binoculars.
Oh, cool. My eyes are the opposite, so I can see that, but this is slightly blurry without
have good
glasses.
vision?
Hell yeah, I have eagle eyes far away, but close up, I'm like, can you move that back a little
You
bit?
and I are the
Opposite,
different-
but the same.
different sides of the different coin that's in your pocket, but it's the same.
We're on a sort of parallel track here. Sometimes perpendicular, sometimes parallel.
Sometimes crisscross.
Applesauce, frontwards, backwards.
You were telling me yesterday that you had a bunch of shit to bring to our table.
That's true. Things just pop up.
So good. Last night I was just like, I don't know what to talk about, but then
Good.
good.
Good. You're going to talk about this shit. All right.
I wrote
Everybody
down some
shut the
notes.
fuck up. I'm going to start talking now. Okay. So these are notes from our last class. Somebody commented on our last video, Rubbish got the notebook. Is that?
Rubbish got the notebook.
I'm huge. I have never been without a notebook. That is like, I have notebooks from every period of life. When I was in high school, me and my boyfriend shared a notebook. Like we'd write in it and, hand it back and forth. Still have that. It helps me to think about things and sort of organize if I can write stuff down. So I was thinking about the concept of trust, just very broadly.
Ooh, that matches
Good. Hell yeah. So trust in general, I always think of this cheesy, corny Lady Gaga quote that she does in, which song? Telephone, the one with Beyonce. She's like, trust is like a mirror. You can fix it if it's broken, but you can still see the crack in that motherfucker's reflection. So, like, how do we open ourselves back up after we've been hurt or betrayed? How can we know who's safe to trust? At what point? So my thought is like, I trust pretty easily. I give most people the benefit of the doubt. So I have been taken advantage of in the past, and I'm sure it'll happen again in the future. But I've just been a lot more cognizant of who I'm putting my trust in and whether it's being reciprocated, sort of. So I'd love to hear what you have to say about this concept.
I'll say the first one that came into my mind, and then I'll pull up my notey bit. It's like when you fall off a motorcycle, you're going to drop it, you get back on the horse.
That's
you
right.
know, that's the first thing that comes to mind is like, but with me, if you have anxiety or depression or OCD, I'll fixate on it.
Oh.
And it can be really hard to do the mental gymnastics of fixating on a compulsive thought. And you know it's not true,
Yeah.
but there's something in your brain that just likes to keep tripping over that fucking cord on your brain's, the floor of your brain's, the living room floor.
Your brain's pelvic floor.
Your brain, tripping on the extension cord of your brain's pelvic floor.
You got to do brain kegels.
I just did one. I'm cross-eyed now. I was watching a documentary about a fruitcake company in Texas, somewhere right outside of Dallas, and there was a man there that embezzled $17 million over the course of a few years, and most of the documentary is, but he was so nice, and he told me that he inherited some money, and that's why he had $700,000 worth of watches, and he was so, and it was just like the Ted Bundy interview tapes over and over again. Like the reason why Ted Bundy caught so many people is because he was charming, he was nice, he was intelligent, he was clean. When the fuck are people gonna realize that the worst manipulators are the ones right in front of your fucking face? And
They won't until they have the wool pulled over their eyes and they get fucked.
It's
Hopefully
like,
then they know, but it hits you.
I'm like, when does somebody show up with a fucking sign around their neck that says, I'm going to murder you?
Right.
I'm an embezzler. Hey guys, hire me. I embezzle $17 million. No one is ever going to come out and say to you, I'm a rapist.
But if you've never had an experience that made you question people's motives when they seem pure on the outside, I guess if you're just not very well versed in life and all the ways it can knock you around, then you get taken advantage of.
It just makes me feel like we're made of just Play-Doh, and that's as far as
We
we'll ever
definitely
get.
are. We're soft, squishy little beings, and we're always getting bumped around.
But he was nice, and he wasn't dirty.
he was so handsome, and he
was
always
handsome.
complimented my corn.
On your feet?
The way she makes her corn. He loves the way she makes her corn.
Yeah, no, that was my thing about trust. I'm like, God damn, this is how.
So what are you saying? Trust no one?
Trust no one. Kill everyone you meet.
At what point did you start trusting me?
Dude, any friend of Aaron's is a friend of.
So as soon
I
as you
never
knew
not
I was
trusted
associated
you.
with Erin, you were like, she's cool.
Yeah.
That's tight. That's how I feel too.
Oh, you know who? Who?
Oh, sick. He vouches for her? She's got to be dope.
Yeah.
But I trust Erin with my life. I mean, you too, but Erin.
This could go like it often does. The reason why I think we are so inept, and let's say every person in America is a big pie, we've only got really like the material needs part met. The spiritual part is gone. That's why we have mass shootings and lots of crime. And
That's a bleak outlook. It's gone? No
It's
one
not gone.
experiences
It's
it?
not gone. It's buried.
Okay. It's
No,
obscured.
it's not gone.
It's obfuscated.
But I think if you brought and revived the spiritual part that isn't just showing up to some church where they scream judgments at you, but like an actual spiritual part, whether that's community or practice or something, you could discern, hey, that person, there's like a lot of red flags about this person. Wait a second. You're on your third new car and like, it's like developing intuition. And because somebody was talking about what advice do we give new motorcycle riders who are crashing and dying? And it's like, you just got to be psychic and develop your intuition. And then like do the the delicate dance of discerning offensive driving, defensive driving. You know, it's just like this.
But I feel like you can really only do that with experience.
Exactly. But also we don't have like a pool for people to swim in of experience in that sort of sense. It's like, okay, grow up alone, isolated, go to work, get decimated or whatever. I like how when you sit down to do a podcast, suddenly you have to burp like every 30
Yeah, I've been
seconds.
burping a lot. I've been trying to move my face away from the mic when I burp. Just like Tezande when he's singing Chocolate Rain.
We've been singing Chocolate Rain. Chocolate Pain.
Some stay dry. Well, I guess that made me think about how we raise our kids.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you and I were raised in kind of a hands-off way.
100%.
No offense to the people who raised us.
I know we both have to like tiptoe. Like Lucas was like, you guys need to talk about your past more because people don't know that both of you came from nothing. And we're like,
we
our
don't want to
moms
offend
don't
our
like
moms.
But he's like, there's a way you can talk about it. And it's like, sure,
Yeah.
we'll get there naturally. But ladies and
all
gentlemen,
due respect.
just know that we were,
We sort of raised ourselves.
yeah.
There have been some trials and tribulations,
Just
and
a couple.
interestingly enough, both of our fathers have gone to the great beyond.
They're in the great beyond. They both disappeared for a handful of years.
Yeah, they were in and out. So we have sort of sometimes the same complexes
That we join forces and try to build an empire with.
because it's cool. Like I deal with mine a specific way, she deals with hers in a specific way, and when we can like share those bits, we're both like growing and vibing off of each other's experience and interpretations. So like that's
the biggest thing that you told me that was like a really large piece in my dad's dying puzzle is you looked at me and you're like, get ready for the dreams.
oh yeah.
And I was like, that's really good advice because if that would have smacked me in the face without just
Oh,
a
man.
warning, that would have been
crazy.
too much.
Like I'm sure a lot of people have lost someone so close to them as their father, maybe even their father or their mother or whatever. But when you lose someone who's that close, they come and visit you in your dreams. And the first one that I had of my dad was terrifying because he had no eyes. And it was very much related to just having gone to his memorial and thinking about him being dead. And so all of the fodder that my brain was working with to create my dreams was like scary corpse dad. And then as time progressed and I worked through more of my grief and I processed more, he came to visit me in a joyful, beautiful way. And I remember even one dream where him and my cousin Jason were there because my cousin Jason passed away of an overdose during the lockdown. And I brought them deviled eggs. And my dad said he liked my pants. And this was really important to me.
What pants were you wearing?
They were like sort of flare leg corduroy pants. They looked like something he would have worn in the 70s. So I don't know. It's just like I've never been so close to someone who recently lost their father like that. So the fact that I could be like, whoa, watch out for this because this definitely hit me like a ton of bricks. That is such a unique experience. But that's like what our village is for.
Yes.
That's what our community is for.
Yes.
Shared experiences.
My first dream of him was him screaming. Like I was walking around in the dream and there was this weird like puff of smoke or steam and it caught my eye and I started looking at it and there was some sort of weird knowing that was my dad, but he had just died. I mean, it was maybe the night of or the night after.
Yeah.
And I tuned into the smoke and I just heard screaming. Not like a blood curdling scream, but like maybe you're being grinded in the gears of forever a little bit.
Whoa.
And I had to look up. I'm like, how long is someone in the Bardo for?
Oh,
okay,
shoot.
40 days. Okay, well, he's going to be there for 40 days.
That reminds me, I need to finish the book Lincoln in the Bardo. I have only gotten halfway through. But that scream seems like maybe the scream of a realization.
Yeah, I think you get slingshot through all of your decisions and your life that you just had.
Oh, yikes.
And you might be going really fast. You might be going too slow. Maybe there's some stuff you don't want to look at.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, this is the heaviest topic that we could discuss.
Oops. What were we talking about?
But it hasn't been depressing or...
No. This is the good shit.
This is the good shit. Originally, we were talking about trust.
Oh, and how we were raised.
Yeah, so I guess I'm a little tentative. I don't know, it's weird. Sometimes I'm tentative with my trust. Maybe I don't give it fully, but I'll give like that surface level of... I don't know, because the way that I was raised was very much...
Chaotic neutral?
Chaotic neutral. So, I don't know. I just don't want to be abandoned.
Well, that's where the attachment... I recently showed my sister attachment styles.
Yeah.
And we were both looking through them because we were talking about my grandma, my dad's mom, who was adopted and went through all of this and that, and very anxious attachment. Mm-hmm. Those attachment styles are wildly accurate because it's essentially, I've always thought this. You see this in peripheral reality headlines. Blah, blah, blah's chemistry is over. They're breaking up, whatever. And it's like, first of all, there's a physiological stage of a relationship where you're head over heels. Physiologically. Mm-hmm. Your body's like making all that stuff. It will go away in 6 months. Now, celebrities, I think, are like, oh, if it's gone, that's not the right person. What's over
Celebrities
here?
are shallow.
I think they're so busy too. I don't know. You're just like not really. You're like foie gras style, shoving all of your wants into your gullet.
It's
so you're
all
not-
high octane, so nothing really
yeah.
satiates. You have to have more and more and more.
And then their kids start committing suicide, and they don't know why. And it's like, well, you were never here. You know. It's,
Oh, man.
oh wait. Okay. Tethering. Pulling.
Reel it back from the suicide
Minding
of
back.
kids. Okay.
But I always believe that the people, when you start living with each other or whatever, or you start being more intimate, a lot of those really nice boundaries are down, right?
Yeah.
And it starts melding into a parental and child. Because that was the last time you didn't have boundaries.
I see.
So women go, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of something that's stereotypical that you see in like a show or a movie. It's like women are, I don't know what I want. And I don't know. It's suddenly men have to be making the decisions because they're acting like the father. And then the women start having to be like, God, I need to take care of all this shit for you. I guess I got to make your lunch for work too. They start becoming the mothers. And there you go. And then you become mothers and fathers. So then it like.
So how do you
further cements
remain
that.
individuals who treat each other with equal respect? Like, how do you not mirror those behaviors that you grew up with?
How do you snow on the mountain that's 1,000 kids have sled down and they're just like in the mud now because the snow is gone and that well-worn path is the only
Therapy.
thing that's there? Drugs, ladies and gentlemen. You do drugs.
Psychedelic therapy.
Yeah, I think it's an awareness, knowing that. Like, we have a book called Partnering, which talks about when couples become parents and how not to do that. I wish I could remember specific things now, but I was like, whoa, I don't want to be your kid. I want to meet you where you're at, and I want to be supportive. So it's parenting yourself, being your own mom and your own dad.
Right.
And communicating with your partner like, hey, I'm sorry that I always didn't do this aspect.
Yeah.
But also seeing like what we're good at. Like, Lucas is good at this. I'm good at this. And then we foster those talents. versus.
And I think that there could be a relationship where you're not treating each other like mama and baby or daddy and kid, you know, but they still have specific things that they're good at. Like maybe the husband does want to change the oil every time, you know, and maybe the wife does want to make sandwiches for the picnic. That's fine. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're being mommy and daddied to each other, but there is an understanding and like a discussion, I imagine. I don't know. I'm single, kind of. It's complicated. I don't know how to relation.
Yeah, and also making sure though that the mom is creatively satiated in some other realm or fostered socially, or you know, making sure her needs are met.
Both should have careers or creative flows or projects or hobbies or whatever.
Can I bring up another topic that this is touching on that
Please.
I wrote down? I will just read the part and we can go back to it. But I was laughing so hard. It was essentially the birth of the cake, the take-home cake mix in a box.
Oh, yeah.
The Great Depression. People needed cheap foods that they could make easy.
Cake.
But then boxed cake sales were declining.
What the hell?
Here's an excerpt. Later during the post-war boom, other American companies, notably General Mills, developed this idea further, marketing cake mix on the principle of convenience, especially to housewives. When sales dropped heavily in the 1950s, marketers discovered that baking cakes, once a task at which housewives could exercise skill and creativity.
Ooh. I want to pipe your name on something, darling.
They had become dispiriting. This was a period in American ideology history when women retired from the wartime labor force were confined to the domestic sphere, while still exposed to the blossoming consumerism in the U.S. This inspired psychologist Ernest Dichter to find a solution to the cake mix problem was in the frosting. Since making the cake was so simple, housewives and other in-home cake makers could expend their creative energy on cake decorating, inspired by, among other things, photographs in magazines of elaborately decorated cakes.
Good Housekeeping. Good Housekeeping magazine. Yeah, I guess it's like sculpture, and depending on how wacky you can get.
Yeah.
There's like this really cool piping tool that looks like grass, and you can make a whole cake look like shag carpet. I hate the traditional gender roles and like the exploitation of women and their creativity for money for General Mills. But I also love decorating cakes.
I also like making cake. So they were also onto something.
I don't want anybody to do anything that they don't want to expressly.
The origin of that, me looking
It's maniacal.
up cakes was how much so the fruitcake documentary, I was like, fuck a fucking fruitcake, don't get that. There, I don't know, maybe you're the literary queen that I worship. There's a category of like archaeological foods that are still in our fucking pantry. Like I put cake as one of them. I was like, cake is this thing that we've been doing forever, and it's just like human consciousness, like make it wet, then put it in the heat box, and then
Hell
it grows.
yeah.
And then you're like, this, like a fig bush can grow a beautiful fig, but this is what humans can do, a big fucking brick of wet wheat.
They want to eat that wheat. They got to get more of that wheat. I mean, yeah, like other ancestral foods are probably like
Tootsie Roll.
Fish sauce.
Okay, but
Fish sauce Tootsie Roll.
Like Tootsie Rolls are those things where I'm like, chocolate taffy made with horse knuckles. I don't fucking want that anymore.
I don't want it either.
Retire it. Put it in the museum.
Some
No one
people
needs
love
to
it.
see There's no way you
Isn't
know
it like a
anybody
Rolo? What's
What?
a Rolo like?
No, Rolo's chocolate with caramel on the inside.
Oh, okay. So Tootsie is that thing that gets stuck in your teeth.
Tootsie was 1907. It's got the brown wrapper. And
I love the bite of chocolate. I don't want you to make it all chewy and bleh.
the first candy that Hirschfield created was the Bromanglion jelly powder.
That sounds great. I'll take some of that, please.
He completed the invention of Tootsie Rolls in 1907. Fucking go to, like, time to put it into a pyramid and worship it from afar. I don't want to eat it anymore.
No, there's so many of those weird little candies that like really have no business in this century, but they're still hanging out
I wanna
because of
burn 'em all.
nostalgia.
Why are we banning books? Those candies should be fucking banned.
I know, don't ban books. Give me a break. People should be able to read everything and then make up their own damn mind.
No.
But I guess if they're only reading that one thing, it's like, okay, you're not doing it right, so you lose your pass. You don't get to read anymore.
Once again, we need to revive this spiritual pie that is missing from this continent.
Where did it go?
Fractured modern
What
society.
happened to it? Is anyone doing it right?
I don't know if any. There's got to be somebody doing it right. We often talk about tribes and villages, but I'm like, you know what? That led to here. Like that here we are, thousands of years later with machines and computers. It was always going to happen. And I think you can bring it back.
What is the root of our disparity? Like, why are we so empty?
Why are we so empty? Because I'm getting a message.
Sorry, I'm short circuiting.
I think because to build a modern society, you need to be isolated and go away for a little while to chug a lug to build the car and the highway system and stuff like that. And then just like people are quitting right now because in the job sector, they're
I was going to say, like, quitting life. They gave up. They clocked out permanently.
people are quitting and getting different jobs because people are hungry for soul satiation and they're not getting that at their retail job or their restaurant job. And so now we've reached this place where our clothes are on our backs and our basic needs are being met for the most part. And here we are, we're seeking more. We're looking at that empty space in the pie.
Soul pie. Spiritual
Soul
pie.
What's the thing you cook a pie tin?
I guess the emptiness is like, once you realize it's emptiness, then you can kind of come back from it. You know, that's
Yes.
like a Buddhist principle.
Yeah, it's a cycle for sure.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about modern society. I always want to blame it on money and surplus and those kinds of things that create social stratification and make people envious. Like there's a whole class of people who just have envy, so they buy stuff.
Right. It's like, well, back at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, no one had jobs and no one had food, and that those were reserved for, you know, people who inherited it, right? There wasn't like this great community that got disrupted. It was like people were striving for housing for their family and for food. And then the job came around, and that was
Factory job.
any kind of job. The first grocery store didn't come around until the early 1800s. Let's look it up.
General Stowe out west. Wiki Wild. Wiki Wild. Sorry, this is just when I show off my arm.
Okay, this is Megan Arm Corner.
I actually strained my launcher this morning. I'm not really good at physical muscle names. The tripod, I guess it is.
The first ever grocery store was in 1916. It was the Piggly Wiggly in Tennessee.
So, but grocery store sort of is a bigger, more inclusive kind of shebang. But I'm sure like general store, like the place where you go to get wheat and sugar and horse feed.
I will speak more vaguely. We were struggling desperately. You were on a farm trying to grow food, and if there was a drought, you were fucked, and your kids died early. And then when cities exploded, you could move there and start making money. And money was like, well, what the fuck is this? Like, that wasn't a thing that a lot of people had. But then as time goes on, then you get the kings, right? The kings who are now oligarchs. I don't know why we call them oligarchs in Russia, but job creators in America. That's another topic.
Ooh.
The
Could it be our socioeconomic systems?
Yes, the American oligarchs. that has always been around, and now it's in our pocket. You can like see it. Like you can go straight to their, personal profile, and it's kind of in your fucking face all the time. And then we glorify it, and it evolves. Yay, we've got all this stuff. I've got a car. You go to Mexico, a lot of people don't have cars. They were also I read an article about how people in America have apartments and food and cars, but a lot of other people don't.
What happened to our fire?
Where's my fire stick?
We're not trying to just advertise this dinosaur, even though I guess it's pretty cute. Yeah, I think there's a song. There's gotta be more to life than chasing at every temporary high to satisfy me. But I think she was singing about God in that song. And my conception of God is maybe a little different from hers.
I wrote that down too. That was one of our first podcast
God
questions.
concept?
Does God fuck itself? We were like, wait a second. Does God, because we were talking about, that's what really spurred us to go get microphones. Was this conversation we had about God fucking itself.
Well, I think that God would most likely do that, but not like to an extent where it's too much. Just like
just enough
to sort of enjoy that facet, that possibility. Because if you think about the God inside of you and the God inside of me, we're pleasure seeking because we live in this pleasure zone.
But is it because we have a body?
Do we have a body because we're God?
Cricket.
Well, it's hard because having a body is actually really great. There's a lot of suffering.
Yeah,
there's a lot of cruelty. Anything could go wrong at any second. Like a tree could fall on your head. So having a body is really dangerous and short-lived. So I don't really know how much that has to do with being God, other than the actual animation of our cells. Is that God?
What point was God like, I want to share this with part of me? It was right after he jerked it. She jerked it. It jerked it.
They jerked it.
They jerked it. And they were like in that post sweat, just being like, this would be nice.
This seems selfish.
If we had little me's that fought with each other about dumb shit. And then,
fight, cook, eat, poop, have sex. I want them to enjoy it all. Just do everything. Why else would we have eyes and ears and mouths and bits?
Do you think human evolution was sparked by man eating a magic mushroom? Monkey eating a magic mushroom?
I think maybe Homo sapiens were sparked by like Homo habilis like sautéing a mushroom. And
it just happened to be
just
psychedelic.
Eating it. I don't know that eating psychedelic mushrooms causes leaps in evolution, but I cannot speak to whether that's true. I saw it in a documentary that it's a possibility, but ever since you dropped that bomb on me about the dinosaur crater,
I'm sorry.
I don't trust anything that I read.
Here we back are at trust. Do we trust? Are you trusting right now in your current predicament, or are you sitting waiting in trust? Are you cautiously?
Which predicament are you referring?
I don't know, the predicament that made you bring it up in the first place.
Well, I am trying to just trust myself.
Yeah.
And just like check in with myself and see what's going on, what she needs, what I can do for her. Thinking about future Megan too, and like trying to set her up so she has an easy life. And then, if people want to fuck with me, they can fuck with me, and I'd happily fuck with them. So yeah, just trying to be contained, self-sufficient.
Dusting off your throne of wisdom.
Yeah, getting stretching my intuition, getting my wisdom built up.
I think figuring out who you are doesn't happen until your 30s.
How could it? It's constantly
there's no
changing.
way. There's no way.
I mean, there's like an accretion.
I was like, so my parents were 18 and 19 when they had me, and I was like, if I am just now patient, like in my 30s, I am just now aware. There's no way I would have been a good mom back then. I mean, they would have survived. Sure, surely.
I know. That's a huge thing, though. At what point are you really your full self? You're like ready
On your deathbed.
for anything.
That's that you die from the moment of realization. That's the true cause of all death.
I can't imagine having a kid. I mean, I still haven't had a kid. I can't imagine having one, but I can't imagine having one really early on when you don't really know about life yet. Because that
old were your
wisdom
parents?
thing. My mom was 28, I think.
Oh, okay.
My dad maybe 34, 33.
Oh.
I think. They got married in 86, had my brother in 87, and had me in 88, which is the year of the dragon. Hello, Bruce Lee in heaven, my hero.
Oh.
Year of the dragon, thank you. But yeah, they did the thing in the right order, but didn't really work out for them. Not to put your business out there.
Oops, sorry. Real business back in. Just stating facts, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right. I guess we were all just a little family until I was about 6. And then it all fell apart. But I'm here today and I'm grateful and I'm happy and I'm healthy. So
You had the drive to thrive. The
I
will
guess.
to survive.
The will to survive, the eye of the tiger. I really think I always go back to this, like the divine within me. Like, because I think it's truly a miracle that I'm sitting here with this like flesh robot biomechanical bits and that I can interact with intelligent people who are hilarious and like eat fucking pineapple
And hold Neptune in the palm of your hand.
in the palm of your hand and like strain my muscles playing sports. It's all just so amazing to me. I'm just so grateful.
Good. You're in a good spot. You're witnessing.
You're witnessing. That is a
and-
huge topic I always think about and how important it is to bear witness.
I know. I feel like a lot of crime, people who are criminals are not bearing witness.
Can you elaborate on that?
Um,
I'm bearing witness. Like they're trying to hide. There's something about hiding.
there's something reactionary, I think, about committing crimes of passion, but they don't see the miracle, right? It's like you're probably either in survival mode
Right.
in some aspect, so the bandwidth to witness is just shut down. It's not turned on. It's not activated. It's
Yeah, bandwidth to witness is something big. Because I feel like that's what I have. I have so much bandwidth to deal with all the stuff coming up in my life. And that's why I can exercise so much gratitude. Because I have that patience. And I have the ability to sit back and look and appreciate. But if people are like going from job to job because they need to pay the bills and they have to put dinner on the table for their family and like their, I don't know, any kind of problems that take up all of your capacity, those people, like we were saying earlier, they can't self-actualize. They don't have fucking time. It's like frivolous and self-indulgent to talk or think about these kinds of things.
unless your parents fucking taught it to you, you
Right.
know, and then you can navigate the realm.
Who's
that
got
is
parents like
surviving.
that except for Ruby?
Ruby, I need you to look at the cereal you just exploded all over the place. I need you to just realize
Take a
the
second.
work you've
Think
created
about
for
it.
your mother. I do that. I'm like, you're picking it up. Sorry.
I'm going to use your hands to scoop it up.
I know.
She's lucky.
Aw, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, what will she be like having parents who are so with it?
Intuned. God, I hope she's cool.
She's gonna be cool. Come on, she already is.
You can do whatever you want, Ruby.
When I looked at the GoPro, it said 4444.
Whoa. You have eagle eyes.
I do, and I have to burp again, so I'm gonna move away from the mic.
So I'm gonna go into our burping room.
Excuse me, that was audible even far away from the mic.
Maybe our ancestors are trying to communicate with the microphone.
My dad totally would burp through my mouth. I guess he was more of a farter.
Yeah, mine too. I don't think I ever heard my dad burp.
Right, it always comes out of the rear. What's up with that?
I've been having this permeating circulatory memory of my dad. Do you remember the Simpsons episode where Homer goes back to the house he grew up in, and there's a permanent shadow in front of the TV?
Like when TVs had nuclear radiation.
Just because he sat in front of it so much. I was like, my dad had that every house he lived in. He sat like a kid in front of the TV, not on a chair, not on the couch, on the floor.
Hell yeah.
As close as he possibly could, and just sat there farting. I remember once the power went out, and we lived in this shitty apartment complex, and the power goes out, and he was inches away from the TV, and he lets out this insane fart. I'm sure the people that lived below us heard it. And he turns around. I just see the silhouette of my dad, and he goes, "That scared the shit out of me."
Literally.
It smelled like it scared the shit out of
It's like
you.
a brown stain on the floor where he was sitting. Oh, man. Did he fart so hard that he went...
Yeah, no, he just blew off. He blew a part of his butt cheek off.
I think the TV was so important to my upbringing. It's like every second or third thought I have is a quote from some TV show, which is like not great, but it's sort of it gives me like social currency.
Yes.
To like be able to whip those things out. It's like, well, I don't want to say anything personal about myself or like become vulnerable in front of you, but here's a quote from The Simpsons that'll make you laugh, and now I'm gonna run over here and hide.
Do you remember the most influential music video you ever saw? Like that popped the popcorn.
The
in your
first
head.
thing that came to mind was the Thong Song by Cisco. She had dumps like a truck.
Truck.
What was yours? Also Black Hole Sun by, Soundgarden?
Mine is so fucking cheesy, but I saw All the Small Things.
It's such a good video.
Well, it was funny, but it was like catchy, and there was like a moment of, oh my God, what's happening? And I was like, I don't know, 9 or 10. And then I bought a guitar. Yeah, so it was.
What a badass. Oh
Very
man,
quick.
please flash a photo of you in your emo high school
Dude,
phase.
I've looked for those photos, and they're fucking gone. Yeah, I mean,
I feel like I have one. Isn't there
Maybe-
one where
I'll
you're like
dig.
holding a
I'll
rifle or something?
oh my God, dude, knives, rifles. I did like, oh my God, dude, half white, half black hair. It was.
What a badass.
Yeah, no, I had no friends, ladies and gentlemen. And then I look at pictures of you during the same. I was like, we would have been best fucking friends. We were both
Shut
like,
up, Whitney. We're going over here.
cutting all of our hair off and
Put some of that in here.
Yeah.
That's what me and my brother and my friend Brittany used to do. Like, we would just buy hair color and like put some in everyone's hair. So we all had like this weird mottled thing going on. For a long time in middle school, I had dyed my hair black and I just did black hair. And then I think in high school I did like fishbowl green and purple.
yeah, I once had turquoise, pink, black, and blonde hair, and my grandpa looked at me and he said, "You look like a 1950s toilet."
Why, thank you, Grandpapa.
And then I just went straight to, I think, blonde. I think after that I was like, yeah, you're right. I don't know. This is silly.
Yeah. I mean, that comment from your grandfather, that made me think of what my grandma said to me once about my shoes.
What'd you say about your shoes?
She said they looked like prescription shoes. They were
how
like
old
these
she was.
big, chunky black shoes.
Hold on. What the fuck were prescription shoes for?
For people who have different
sick feet?
length of legs, or people who have different, like 2 left feet. I think that
2 left feet?
I think it happens. It really
There's
does. You have to get
no
prescription
way.
shoes so that they fit your body. would like some. My feet are like really narrow, and I feel like they're always too short if they're wide and like the right width. I don't know.
I'll get you some prescription shoes.
Can they be sandals? I'm ready to reveal my toes.
Yes. Yeah. It's toe weather.
Right
Get your
now, I
toes
just
out.
have this.
We
These are
gotta-
my kung fu shoes.
Can we retire those and bronze them?
I don't know if I'm ready to retire them
Well,
yet.
let me know when you're ready to bronze them.
Okay. This is what I would wear to church, by the way.
We have a question we should answer.
Yes! Oh my God. Thank you so much for submitting your question to us. So, the question was regarding genetic memory, sedentary lifestyles. This kind of ties in with what we were talking about with like modern day society, why we're all sort of fucked because of the way that industry has made us all lonely individuals who kind of lead sedentary lifestyles, don't really get out enough, don't move around enough. And I think there's kind of a well-known link between not exercising or not moving around and kind of feeling depressed and feeling like anxiety building. But this person asked if there was a connection between adrenaline and sort of thwarting those feelings of depression and anxiety. Did you want to read his question out?
Yeah, it helps me process it a little bit. So Ardent Bolt said, I have kind of developed a theory based on lots of stuff I've learned and observations I've made that most people's depression and anxiety, while such things have justifiable origins, are totally exacerbated by a lack of adrenaline and other chemicals that our genetic memory requires. Now that so many live such sedentary lifestyles, humans no longer really get all those chemicals into their poor little brains, even less if they don't have hobbies or creative outlets of some kind. What do you think? Can a lot of depression and anxiety be helped by simply going out and doing exciting things? I think so.
I think there's a lot of truth to that. But I also think that adrenaline maybe is not the right word, because I just looked up, I did a cursory search.
Please tell us your cursory search.
Adrenaline is the thing that puts you in fight or flight mode. So if you sense a threat or some kind of emergency, that's when the adrenaline kicks in, and it can actually wreak havoc on your body if you enter that state too much. And for reasons like stressful job, stressful family situation, those types of things. So maybe this person is trying to say like endorphins or other hormonal things. Because I don't think adrenaline is necessarily good for you. Like, it's good.
What about us on motorcycles?
Well, isn't that feeding a different type of need?
I think there's a lot of adrenaline.
But you need that for another reason. Everybody doesn't
to
need
fight
that.
or fly. Yeah.
That's because you are an adrenaline junkie, maybe.
Am I? Maybe.
If that's what you want it for, right?
I'm almost thinking though that sometimes there's like I hop on a motorcycle to clear my mind, and there are moments of I mean, I was doing whatever over 100 the other, it's like there's no way that there's not adrenaline pumping through
Right.
there.
I'm definitely not a pro on this topic.
No, it's fun to sit.
But I think that there's a difference between exercising and releasing endorphins into your body and
Right.
feeling better, as opposed to like climbing a sheer cliff without a rope,
right.
Because to me, when I dance around like a woo-woo head nut butt, that makes me feel great. But I never felt a threat to my life.
Does adrenaline only come up if there's like a threat?
I believe so.
Okay.
But again, I'm not
so if
sure.
you're excited, it's like, well, let's look.
Right. So I don't want to lump everybody into the same category of like, oh, are you feeling sad? You need to get out and run around the block. Like, that's effed up. I think some depression, some anxiety can be assuaged by moving your body. I know that if I can't think of anything to do sitting still with my brain, then if I get up and start moving around, things sort of start to get unclogged.
So you do secrete adrenaline when you're excited.
Cool. Love it.
I think those... God. My dad... We're just talking about dads today.
It's a dad kind of
He
day.
lived such a sedentary life. Like, that man never did anything. And I think he suffered heavily from depression and anxiety. And it's like, gosh, if you just go out and find anything, I think that would really invigorate. Maybe it's just about invigorating your genetic DNA, even if it's not something that you find a ton of joy in, but it might... They're your ancestors again.
Yeah, my dad said yes. You burped
Trying
through
to
me.
communicate.
Genetic memory, what does that mean to you?
I totally think that we have not unlocked what DNA actually is. Because they have found, oh God, this is where we need like to hire a third person who can cite our sources. But I've definitely read about how they have found genetic markers for trauma in your DNA from previous generations. That's why we've survived.
Genetic memory, so what to do and what not to do?
Yes, is encoded.
That makes sense for like migratory animals, right?
Yeah.
So what's the difference between genetic memory and instinct? Are they
Or
one and
are
the
they
same? So instinct is actually developed over the course of time through genetic memory and like accumulation of our cells somehow remembering like that river good, that
Green water, bad.
bad, don't do that. I mean, that just blows my dick out of the water. I don't even know how to deal with that. What's my genetic memory? I come from Wales. And
Do you know your
Yeah.
ancestors? Oh,
yeah, I
shit.
have an ancestor named Banfield Capron who was born in 1630 in Wales. Welsh. What is it? How the Welsh, a Welsh goodbye, or the way the Welsh run, or
Is
something?
that where you dump whiskey on your head and run out the door?
I'm not sure. Not very in contact with my ancestors.
I think that's why a lot of us are so fucked up too. I have no idea where I come from.
I don't know where I come from. But I've done my Ancestry.com and I've done my 23andMe and still disconnected
All right.
completely.
I was looking at a bunch of people at a brewery and I turned to Lucas and I said, God, we're all here because think of all the people that there's ever been. We all survived.
Way, way more than live now, right? Or is that... Of all the people who've lived over all of the years that this earth has been pumping out people, and now they've died, is that amount lesser or greater than all the people who are alive right now?
The amount of dead people is insane. It
Okay.
surpasses. So seeing everybody as a bookmarker of hey, your lineage made it. Congratulations, you made it. We
Right.
survived.
Right.
And then Lucas goes, and think of all the ones who didn't. And I was like, oh, that
Whoa.
is...
Their line just ended with them. Dude, I'm afraid my line is going to end with me.
There's no way.
Well, my brother can't procreate from his position.
That don't mean you can't.
Am I going to make a baby?
You got a decade left, lady.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go.
I'm not in a rush anywhere in any direction.
She didn't just
Do
clasp
not
her
misinterpret
hands
this.
and then rub them together as if she was ready. She is not. That is a symbol.
Whenever
of
I'm
not
near
being
her,
ready.
I want to make a baby. So I don't know how to interpret that.
I've got that joyous, not sleeping glow that I radiate. And
She makes it look
feeds
so
you.
damn easy. Just kidding. It seems incredibly difficult. Did we even answer your question?
Did we answer your
I'm not
question?
sure. But I love that. I love that idea. And I do subscribe to that idea that moving creatively, physically, whatever will usually make me feel better.
I also agree. I think that, let's say if you got 100 people on to something where they're having adrenaline, they're being invigorated, whether it's going to a trampoline park or jumping out of a plane or hiking or just something, being active and shocking your system. I don't think it'll always cure those people, but I would 100% assume that 50 of those people would feel a lot better.
Couldn't hurt. Well, usually it can hurt.
I think even
We're there.
just
We've reached the limit. It says
I think it says it's only been 10.
it says 1 hour.
I think too, you have got to rock people out of their fucking the snow globe of their mind. Get out of there.
Yeah.
Like everybody watches Fox News. I'm like, you know what? You got okay, little fear babies. We got to shake you off of this, and you got to get out and you go talk to more people because this is not real. Like,
right.
But they're afraid, and when you sit in the snow globe of fear all the fucking time, the world
It's
looks
an echo
real
chamber.
scary. But guess what? I was listening to like old punk rock, and I'm like, oh, it's always been this way.
Everybody chooses their silo in which to shield and take shelter.
Yeah, and we've always been at war, and we've always hated some rich person.
Yeah, there's
and
always
we
some
don't-
type of rivalry to join up with.
It's
And
just people relax, okay? We got to do what we can do, support what we can support, talk to one another, bridge the gap,
enjoy yourself along the
enjoy
way.
yourself, eat good snacks, drink a good drink, fart a good fart,
Read a good book.
read a good fucking
Dance a
book.
good dance.
Get out of your head. That's what I took from reading that question was like, get the fuck out of your head.
Yeah, because that's a dangerous place. 'Cause especially if you have negative self-talk, then that's all you're going to focus on, and it's just going to amplify. I'm not so good at communicating my feelings to whomever, but when I finally get it out of my brain and into a place where we can both look at it and be neutral about it, I always feel better. Always. Even though it's hard and I have fear.
Fear is the mind killer.
Fear is the mind killer. I will face my fear. I will let it pass through me. When the fear is gone, only I will remain. That was a truncated version of the Bene Gesserit litany for fear. Truncated because we went over.
That's okay. We can go over.
Sick. I guess this is our show. Art and Bold, thank you for the question.
Thank you for the question. Ask us more questions, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, just whatever comes to mind,
We
you know?
want to think. We want to sit here. We want to think. We want to eat pina.
But we also want to connect with people.
Yes.
Like y'all.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.